In 2008, Malaysia claimed batik as their own cultural heritage. This made Indonesians, especially the government, very angry, and they took immediate action by sending batik to the UNESCO. So why did this happen, and why was it so easy for Malaysia to claim batik as their own cultural heritage? And should we only really blame Malaysia for this case? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Alya Kinanti from As-Shofa Senior High School, and today I am going to tell you all the importance of culture and why it is critical for us to protect it and why we should be well informed of it. Ladies and gentlemen, culture is very important for everyone. It encompasses, amongst other things, ideals, traditions, art, structures, and values. Culture, along with its heritage and its history, is very important and is critical for us to protect it so that the next generations can look back at our history and see how far we have all come together as a whole community. Ladies and gentlemen, today there is a lack of awareness of our own cultures that it is either disappearing or making other nations claim them as their own. Today, the West seems to be very popular and very fascinating that it is making Indonesians forget their own culture and adopt their own culture as theirs. For an example, the clothes. The traditional clothes of Indonesian is batik, and yet right now more people are more comfortable with wearing those that were made from the West. While there is nothing wrong with this, what is wrong is the mindset of it, ladies and gentlemen. The West, along with the technology and science, have become vastly fascinating for everyone, but it is making Indonesians out to be a marketplace for Western products. And many cultures of ours is seen as old-fashioned or left behind, or technology, or that is something very uncool as of today. But have you ever thought of what would happen if we think this way? Have you ever thought of if we truly throw away our cultures, what would have happened? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Other countries will claim it as their own. And remember, this has happened before, and we cannot fully blame Malaysia for this case. Ladies and gentlemen, preserving our own culture does good for our country. And if it does good for our country, it does good for our nation. Acknowledging it and become well informed of it, we would be able to look back at our roots and see what our ancestors have done for us many years ago. I want to remind you that letting go of our culture is the same as letting go of our nation that has its own cultural uniqueness and its rich history behind them. Each and every one of them has its own rich history behind them, and it is a great loss for us to just throw them away like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that most of you who are listening to my speech right now are students, and let me tell you all, today we are living in the era of globalizations, and because of that, it is more belief that we as the new generations have more advanced and modern thoughts, which is why it is critical for us to take action and remind each and every one of us of our cultures and its very rich history and its heritage. So, ladies and gentlemen, what can we do to protect our culture as the identity of our nations? Well, for instance, we should start with the smaller things. We should take acknowledge of it and look back at our roots, become very well informed of it. Read a lot of books on the topic and talk to other people who knows better than us. Secondly, and the most important thing is, we should take action, ladies and gentlemen. For example, instead of paying Starbucks every single day, why don't we go around and look at the traditional foods and drinks that we all have? I'm sure it is all very delicious and maybe even more delicious than those from the West. And even more important, it's ours and it's cheaper, ladies and gentlemen. And thirdly, I'm sure that those who have lived in the sophisticated era seen the new modern technology as something that is very technical and very hard to learn. But ladies and gentlemen, there is good for us to use these new modern technology because we can promote the culture of our nation and our country to other people, to make them interested in learning in it and visiting us to look at the richness of our country's heritage. So I'm sure with all these 3 tips, I'm sure that we can all come together and remind ourselves of our beautiful, beautiful culture, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you all for listening to me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.